Well, hello there. Sorry. Always wanted to do that. I'm a big Star Wars fan. By the way, Obi-Wan. You gotta argue he's one of the best Jedi. I mean, he just never fails. The man goes through some crap. Spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen Star Wars, look away, okay? Girlfriend dies. Can't ever really be with her because he's a Jedi, because he's doing what he's supposed to, Anakin. Girlfriend dies, okay? Best friend, protege, boy he basically raised, turns into Darth Vader. Then he goes and lives at a hermit. He's trying to help Luke Skywalker. Uncle Owen don't want nothing to do with it. Still acts right. The man acts right no matter what. Anyhow, so you gotta argue he's one of the best Jedi. Moving on. Let's get to the pre-programmed stuff.
Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Heather with the Moscow, and today we are going to be talking about container, patio, porch, peach trees, dwarf mini peaches. If you're new here or if you don't know, my name is Heather and this is the Moscow, where we are learning to garden together and trying things out even when conditions aren't perfect. And the other day my husband was at Costco and saw this plant and FaceTimed me, and I was like, yep, we need that one. And I thought it was one that I hadn't seen a lot about on the internet. So I thought I would share some information about it and we could plant it up together. So today I wanted to pot this up, show you how I go about potting it up, talk a little bit about what it is and kind of the specifics on it, and then talk a little bit about the care and maintenance that we needed for this plant so that you can decide if this is a plant you need or a plant that would be right for you. So what this is a patio peach or a porch peach, but it's basically a dwarf peach that can live in a container. So this is something that no matter how much space you have, you can grow and have some fruit. This specific variety is the Bonanza Patio Peach. It says the season for it is May. It has the most beautiful pink blooms. I hope that this is showing up on camera as much as beautiful as it is in real life, but the most beautiful blooms on this plant. And in fact, I think that's what had everybody asking him about it as he was walking through the store. It is a peach. It will produce peaches for us. So some basics of these kind of dwarf peach trees, sorry, I did make some notes, is these will grow, anything in this kind of category is going to grow to be like 4 to 7 feet tall and wide. This one says 4 to 6, and again, if you're keeping it in a container, I think that that's going to limit how much it grows. But they're perfectly fine in a container. They will produce for you in a container, so that's really exciting. Again, makes it really accessible for a lot of people. Has the most beautiful blooms. In fact, Jason got stopped so many times in the Costco because the blooms on it are just such gorgeous spring color. After those blooms come out, depending on what variety you get, some of them will have more burgundy foliage. So if you find a container peach that some of them have more this beautiful burgundy foliage. This is green, which I actually like a lot. But it has great green or burgundy foliage. Again, depends on which variety you get. And according to the interwebs, it's supposed to fruit and provide fruit for you sooner than its non-dwarf counterparts. So some saying as soon as like the second year you've got it, where that's a whole year sooner than what you would if you had it in the ground. I've also seen that some people say the fruit might be a little bit smaller, maybe not quite as flavorful, but we will find out. And when I go to eat one of these, if I get the opportunity to, if and when I get the opportunity to, I'll let you know. But the internet is saying that the fruit should be slightly different. But again, I don't have room for an orchard here. We just don't have that much full sun space, but I could grow this in a container so that I'm not bothered by that. This particular variety says that it is hardy down to zone 5. We are a zone 7B here, and we're in East Tennessee, and we live in a very shaded in the woods. Like, it's woods all the way around me. I have very few full sun spots. But being that it's a zone 5, we're going to put it in a container. We are 2 zones above it, so I'm not worried at all about losing it. In fact, a lot of these things need some chill hours, like up to 200 chill hours, depending on the variety that you get, so you want to check on that as well. But it will be perfectly fine in a container outside all year, and in fact, it has to be outside for those chill hours. Now, if you were living, let's say, zone 4 or something like that, you would need to pull it into maybe a garage that's slightly warmer. It does need chill hours, so it needs some cold, but it's not going to be able to tolerate a zone lower than that. So that's an option too for some of you that live in really, really cold climates, but maybe you've got a space that you could put this over winter. Maybe this would be a good option for you to be able to have a peach tree. So I think this is a really versatile option for so many people to look into. So again, we picked this up at Costco and we are going to plant it today. So let me show you how we're going to do that. So down here, we've got our container that we have carefully selected. It is just a large plastic container from a big box store. If you were concerned about insulating the roots, let's say you're a zone 5 and you're wanting to leave it outside, maybe you would get something that's thicker that's going to protect and keep the temperature right. Again, being 2 zones above, I'm not at all worried about leaving it in this plastic pot. I'm going to be putting it next to my raised bed garden anyhow. But again, be mindful if you are close to the edge of the hardiness levels for this plant, you're going to want to put it in something, concrete or thick terracotta, something that's thick-walled, that's going to insulate better. You want to consider too that when you leave concrete and terracotta out in the winter, you do run the possibility of cracking it. I do have plenty of cracked terracotta around here. It still works just fine, but you can't move it because it will fall apart. So we've got our container here. We want a selected container that's 2 times wider than the pot that you're going in it and about as-ish deep. We are obviously going above and beyond that today. Hopefully that won't be a problem. Sometimes that does shock plants, but hopefully that won't be a problem and it'll be happy in here for a while. The other thing about it is that means that I can underplant it, and I love to underplant a tree. I love to put a tree in a container and underplant it like my life depends upon it. It is a good time. It's a good time. We could either put like lettuce underneath here, or we could put some ornamental flowers. That's probably what we're gonna do. But that's another reason that I've got this large container. But you don't need something this large. Again, ideally 2 times the width of the pot and as deep as the pot is that it comes in. Now when we go to fill this, I like to use, because this is going to be a food producing plant, I do like to use an organic potting mix. I'm not real particular about my potting mix. Maybe I should be. Comment below if I should be. A lot of times I will use the, is it a Spoma that makes a potting mix? An organic potting mix? I think it is. A lot of times I will use that, but I happen to be at a big box store today picking up potting mix that didn't have that, so I just got whatever they had that was organic. I'm going to be amending the soil with biotone starter fertilizer and throwing in some soil acidifier, because these do like a little bit more acidic soil, and so we're going to throw some soil acidifier in there. I also have like half a bag of mushroom compost, and I'm going to throw a couple handfuls of that in there, although what's in the potting mix should be perfectly fine. I just really want to feed it really nice and well because it is flowering right now. And anytime that you're putting especially crops in a container, you need to be able to feed them. They're only going to get what you give them. And then finally, everything that we have needs to be hooked up on drip. I've talked about this before, but I do not have a lifestyle where we go out of town a lot. We like to go adventure with the family a lot, and I work really long hours. so it's not feasible for me to be able to count on myself to come out here and water. We live in a very wet climate, so we do get a lot of rain naturally. However, I need to know that when we're going through a dry spell or just whatever, it's really hot outside, that I can give my plants water without me physically being there. So everything we have needs to be hooked up on drip. The way that we hook everything up on drip, if it's a container, is 1/4 inch black tubing hooked to brown emitter tubing. Now this one is already been done because this was already in another container, but this is entirely too long. Like when I do emitter tubing, it only needs to go around once. So I need to cut this like here. So let's take care of that first. Also, side note, go ahead and fix your drip tubing before you put your soil in there. You run the drip tubing up through the drainage holes, and that way, if you know there's some soil in there and the drip tubing's already in there, but run your drip tubing first and then pour your soil in. That way it's already in there. You ain't gotta try to feed it through. You can do that pot turn thing and whatever, but it's easier if you do it this way. I'm gonna go grab some shears and cut that in half. So what I'm talking about, when I've done a video, and I will link it down below, on how to hook up containers on drip. But what I'm talking about is you get this 1/4 inch black supply line tubing. You can get this at Home Depot. I will link some down below for you. I really need to make like an Amazon storefront. I think it would be much easier. And then you hook, now this one's been reused. I will do that. But this is emitter tubing. So if you see like there's a swollen part here, will it focus if my face isn't there? There is little holes here that water comes out of, these little emitters. This one happens to have it like every 3 or 4 inches. Usually I buy them when they have them like every 6 inches or so. That seems to be very sufficient. And then you just do enough to make a ring around the pot. That usually waters it plenty. Then you add one of these goof plugs at the end. And then let me get a barbed coupler. So you string black tubing through the pot. Then you get one of these barbed couplers. See how it's like barbed on one end? And then you wiggle it into this end, this one in the black end, and that connects them. Then on the other end, you need to put a goof plug. You don't want water running out of the end. It don't work that good if you do that. One of these guys, can you see that? Okay, so this end here, the bottom part goes into the end of your tubing, and the top part is just an end. Use a landscape staple to stick it in there. That way, it'll continue to get it watered. So let me put this goof plug on here. Another little tangent here. That took way longer than it ever should have, just to go get this bag of soil acidifier. By the way, I keep my biotone in a 5-gallon bucket because some people, come here Jabbies, would probably eat it if it was just left in the bag. We can't do that around here. But to get in my garage right now is atrocious. So we're now gonna place the tree in the pot. We're not gonna mess with the roots. We're gonna realize that we put too much soil in the pot, per the usual. I feel like always the struggle is getting it level in the pot. Well, we've got her all planted up. She looks incredible, and we loaded her in the garden cart. We're gonna take her down to where we're putting her, and we'll talk about care. Disclaimer, my husband did help me load her up. She was heavy. And I've been working out, but apparently not enough to help me with that. So let's go take her down here, load her. Got my landscape staple, I'm gonna staple the thing. So we've got it down here on the pad with the raised bed. And we've got our drip tubing landscape stapled down. Let's talk a little bit about care for this plant. So first of all, as one would expect, being a fruiting tree, needs full sun, 6 to 8 hours of sun. This is my best opportunity to give it full sun down here. Don't mind the fact that I need to weed these beds and touch up the drip. We're doing that today. Was this a weeding video or? So we'll be taking care of that today. But again, because this is something that is in a container and it's going to provide you with a crop, you need to feed it. So we're going to go in with Espoma Tree Tone every month, and in fact the Tree Tone bag has a peach on it. So I love Espoma. You don't even have to be able to read. You just pick up the bag with what you're growing on it. What the world? And you feed it. It's a slow release organic fertilizer. Again, I will do everything organic for this because again, we're gonna eat it. So full sun, every month I'm gonna come in with my Espoma Tree Tone fertilizer. It comes as a granular, so you just sprinkle it around the base, mix it in a little bit, and you'll be good to go. You do need to prune these just like you would prune any other fruiting tree. You want to prune in late winter, early spring. You want to make sure that you're pruning before the buds start to swell, but you want to keep it to just a few branches or keep it to a manageable amount of branches. Peaches are known to produce more fruit than what they can hold. You can either go in and thin out that fruit or cut back the number of branches that you have to kind of make the tree more manageable for itself. Also, you're going for a vase shape, so you want things to be just like this. Not a whole lot going in the center. You want a lot of airflow on these plants. No branches cutting across. Anything that looks dead or diseased needs to go. If it's a water sprout, that also needs to go. So just a basic prune job, keeping it in a vase formation and keeping the branches to something manageable for the plant. These can be prone to borers and scale, Japanese beetles, which I deal with a lot here. We will be spraying ours every 10 to 14 days, probably 14 because I'm lazy, with Captain Jack's fruit tree spray. It's an organic option for gardeners, and I don't think it alone is going to 100% take care of the problem, but it is something that will kind of keep it manageable. For borers, there are also suggestions to wrap the trunk to prevent the borers from getting into the tree. That may be something that we look into as well. But again, I'm very excited to have this. I will hook it up to the drip here. So again, I'm very thrilled to have this down here. I'm glad that he found this, and I hope that this information was helpful to you to decide whether or not this is for you. In my opinion, who this is for is really almost anybody, unless you have peach trees or you just literally have nowhere that gets full sun. This is a plant that I think everyone could use. It's very beautiful. The blooms on it are gorgeous. It's going to produce a crop for you, but it's very contained. And for people that are like, you know what, I have a small patio, I can't grow anything, this is an option for you to get a little bit of fruit and to have all this beautiful spring color with not too awful much effort. I think that that's really great. So if the question is, who is this for? It's for almost anybody. If you hate fruit, you know, I wouldn't buy it then. If you're on the carnivore diet, even then you might want to buy it for the blooms. I'm just saying, you know, give the fruit away. I grow stuff that I don't eat too. It looks cool, I get happy to grow it, just give it away. It's fine, you know? Or I'm like, I'm too lazy to do something with that produce, it's getting giveaway. But if you're on the carnivore diet, or if you have fruit trees in your yard already and you just don't need this, then maybe that's the only person I can think of this wouldn't be an option for. I think most people are going to be able to grow this. Again, if you live in a zone where it's just not tolerated, then maybe you could finagle things. Again, because it's in a pot, you can bring it in or set it somewhere where it's going to be protected. But most people are going to be able to use this plant. So I'm very excited to have it. If you have any questions, please put them below. If you have this plant, please give us all the information that you have so that we can share it with the group. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.